It is Wednesday, and one of the few Wednesdays we have remaining to be joined with the great Dr. Sebastian Gorka, because he's got a new job. Dr. Gorka, how are you, sir?
I'm very well on this rainy day in Washington, D.C.
It's about to rain a lot in D.C., rain a lot of fury in D.C., and a righteous fury. Dr. Gorka is right now doing two jobs, amazingly, keeping his current job until, when did you say, January? When's your last radio show?
Well, the 13th is the last radio show, and then I have to be on deck 12 o'clock, 12:01 when the president is sworn in on January 20th, because I'm not Senate confirmed. Nobody on the National Security Council is Senate confirmed, so we are at work as soon as President Trump raises his right hand and takes that oath.
Awesome. Dr. Gorka is the new Deputy Assistant to the President and Senior Director for Counterterrorism. One thing I'm excited about, Dr. Gorka, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is how fast things are going to move on January 20th. Can you speak to this in your new realm, your new work?
Yeah, look, I'm not going to give specifics because, that's good for the bad guys. But I can say that not only in my realm of national security and counterterrorism, but, across the board, whether it's stuff that's going to be happening in, Department of Agriculture, Education, whether it's the CIA, the Office of Director of National Intelligence, the people at the America First Policy Institute, the people who worked for President Trump in the first administration, they have been busy little bees for the last 4 years, and there will be a flurry of activity. And let's just talk about, you remember the phrase from the first Gulf War, shock and awe, whether it is the deep state, the permanent bureaucracy, whether it's the America-hating Democrats and leftists, whether it's our enemies, jihadis, cartels, you name it, they will be suffering a gargantuan dose of shock and awe as of the afternoon of the 20th, because we are ready to roll.
So I've never seen it like this. So we're all hoping that, and it's encouraging to hear you say that you believe that that's actually true. And I'm prepared to be disappointed because, Dr. Gorka, you and I have been disappointed by DC a lot for a long time.
Right.
But you really think this is a different thing?
Look, just don't take my word for it. Look at what's happened since 5 weeks ago, and let's just keep celebrating. Everybody out there, you need to celebrate what you did with President Trump, with everybody out there to just bring not only electoral college victory, but the popular vote victory. That's you guys. That's Breitbart. That's every patriot out there. But if you just want to look at it empirically, look at the names. Look at the names. Look at the nominees. Do you have any wonder that this will be a very different administration when we have the likes of Tom Homan as the border czar, when we have the likes of Kash Patel running the FBI, when we have Stephen Miller as the Deputy Chief of Staff inside the White House running Homeland Security? The list goes on and on. I mean, just look at this week. Oh, by the way, hey, Mark Cuban, you're a sad little loser who looks like Rachel Maddow. Oh, President Trump doesn't like having strong women, intelligent women around him. Just the last two announcements. Alina Habba, that warrior princess, as counselor to the president. And then, oh my gosh, Harmeet Dillon is Deputy Attorney General to take over the most corrupt, insidious viper's den of the whole of the DOJ, which is the Civil Rights Division that was used as a political weapon against. Now, that's where all the anti-pro-life prosecutions came from under the FACE Act, from that heinous den of just filth. And we're going to put in a legal warrior like Harmeet Dillon. Look at the names, Mike, and that should make everybody feel a little bit warm inside.
Okay. I want to be careful with how I word this, because if I asked you a couple weeks ago, you're a political commentator. Now you're soon to be the guy doing this, Senior Director for Counterterrorism. So I want to ask it this way. How will you / should we look at what happened in Syria the other day and this now power vacuum that exists and the terrorist organizations, you, Senior Director for Counterterrorism, terrorist organizations that will be coming in trying to gain power. What should we think about this?
Well, thank you for teeing it up like that. So, there are things I can say and things I cannot say. Let's just, stay in the realm of, the open source and the reported media. Number one, just because a jihadi says he's not a jihadi doesn't mean he's not a jihadi. Okay, just because he, trims his beard a little bit and puts on a suit jacket doesn't mean he's not a jihadi. So that's number one when it comes to the people who are in charge in Damascus. Number two, the landscape of the whole region has changed in tectonic ways since October the 7th. I'm about to meet some of the parents of the hostages who were taken that day. And Israel's response to the greatest loss of Jewish life since the end of the show, or the end of the Holocaust, has changed things for the better because of their operations against the jihadists that wish to do harm to Jews and Christians and apostate Muslims. So everything is in flux right now. We have friends in the region. We have Arab militias who are not interested in jihadism, are not interested in putting, Alawite dictatorships back in place. And then we have the Kurds. And here's one thing, just a message to our friends in the region. I asked somebody who's incredibly knowledgeable and who spoke to them recently. I asked, so after the last 4 years, what do the Kurds think of America? Do they feel utterly betrayed and they don't trust us? And this individual, who is one of the greatest minds on the region, said, they are still friends of America. All they want is for President Trump to be back in the White House so that America can lead again. So, there are lots of good possibilities, especially with the fall of what is a client state for the greatest destabilizing force in the region, which is Iran, and also for Russia. So the loss of that satrapy is a good thing. Doesn't mean there's going to be stability in Syria. However, there is an opportunity to do damage to those who wish to harm Americans. I'll leave it at that. The only question is, how much moronic activity and mistakes can we expect from Jake Sullivan, from Blinken, from Biden in the next 38 days? That's the one thing we have to worry about.
Well, I think what you started with was an important place to start there. You say, well, don't trust what terrorists say. I feel like we've had a couple, right? We've had a couple administrations that have indeed trusted what terrorists say. So just to start from that point is an important change. On your last point, I read the other day or yesterday that Mayorkas, who's still the head of DHS, I don't know if he did or is he thinking about extending some pseudo-legal status to people that normally is only a 180-day renewal, and they're going to give it for 540 days. So I bring that up. You don't have to comment specifically, but just these last 40 days of sabotage, if you want to call it that maybe, by the people who are still in there. Can these things be undone, you think?
Absolutely, and this time it's not going to be like, taking the W's off the White House keyboards like, the Jolly Jape of the, Clintonites when GW was coming into the White House. It's serious. We know what these people are doing right now. They don't believe in the writ and the will of the American people, and they are, as you say, trying to sabotage our work once we come in on January the 20th. What are they doing? Can it be undone? Absolutely, it can be undone. You need to get Tom Homan on the show, but let's talk about one thing that is so egregious. It must be undone, and it must be undone legally in the courts in a watertight fashion. How were, let's say, 8 million is what we know of. If you add the getaways, it's 16 million. But how were 8 million illegals let into this country? Because they abused the existing system of asylum seeking. Paroling people into America was done on a case-by-case basis for a couple of dozen people every year. People in very special circumstances. For example, if you were coming here as a foreign national and you were testifying in front of a grand jury, you were paroled into the nation for temporary service to the country. They used the parole system, which was used for extremely special circumstances, to allow literally millions of illegals into America. That is not why it was created. It is an affront to law. It is an affront to everything that is the mandate to keep Americans safe. That will be challenged, and it must be challenged. Yes, the Mark Eliases of the world and all the scumbag left-wing lawyers are going to try and do lawfare against that as well. But again, I go back to my initial point. With people like Tom Homan as border czar, with Stephen Miller running Homeland Security from outside of the White House, with Governor Noem, with Pam Bondi, these will all be challenged, and these will all be rectified in the name of one thing and one thing alone: keeping Americans safe in America.
Last question for you. I know you got to go. Your boss, Michael Waltz, Mike Waltz is the new National Security Advisor. Let me go one step back. The senator from Alaska quoted the New York Times where China banned rare mineral exports to the United States. And the senator from Alaska is saying, this is crazy. We need to start using our own rare earth minerals, whatever. And Mike Waltz said, change is coming, Senator Sullivan. And I don't want to ask you about the rare earth minerals, but just when I hear this, it's like, oh man, gosh, there's a lot to do. I'm not even thinking about that. Are you overwhelmed at all by how much there is to be done?
No, I can't allow myself to be overwhelmed. And when you've got somebody like Mike Waltz, the first ever Green Beret to become a member of Congress, decorated veteran, no, this is very. This is the most important job I will ever probably have in my life, and we are going to approach it with that commitment. Whether it's Mike, whether it's the president, whether it's any member of the cabinet, this is a window of opportunity to save our nation, which is the zenith of the greatest civilization the world has ever seen. We have no time to worry about being overwhelmed because the stakes are far too important. Innocent people must be protected and evildoers must see justice. It is quite that simple. So, no, it is, we have faith in our fellow American. We have faith in the 77 million that recognized that the man who was shot in the head by a Democrat donor can save America. That is our yardstick. President Trump took a bullet for us. It's that moment at the drive-through window at McDonald's. People missed it. They said, oh, it's cute. He put on the apron and he went to the fry station. Go back and watch. Get the thought. Go back and get the audio for your show, Mike. When the immigrant family from India pulls up to the window and the husband, as the president's handing out the bag of food, the husband says, thank you for taking time with us. We're nobody. And the president says, you're not nobodies. And then pot up the sound, and you hear the wife, immigrant wife, from the other side of the vehicle say, Mr. President, you took a bullet for us. And there's a moment, there's a pause, there's this unbelievable, genuine moment you cannot fake. It's not on a cue card, it's not on a teleprompter, where President Trump pauses, and then he says, yes, I guess I took a bullet for you.